Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Movie Critic Rob here with the Movie Channel, and we are here. We have arrived at one of those rare moments in life that is the first time for something, and it is the first time that Marvel Studios is finally making its very first Spider-Man movie, along with the partnership that they forged with Sony Pictures. And let me just say right off the bat, it delivers amazingly. You can definitely tell that there's passion going into this. Having Spider-Man had his kind of trial run in Civil War, now he gets his movie. Kevin Feige has said in the past that Spider-Man is the best character in the Marvel canon, and he gets his due here with this movie, Spider-Man Homecoming. So the story, what's the story? It actually ties back to a lot of the very first, the very roots of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, specifically a very well-known film known as Avengers. And you get to see these characters. You get to start off with the bad guy's perspective. And really, I like what they did with Adrian Toomes. Michael Keaton does a fantastic job. He can turn on the menace on a dime, but at the same time, he is sympathetic, and you definitely see where he's coming from, which I like that. He was one of the best villains I've seen out of the MCU, which is fantastic. Tom Holland. Tom Holland just blows me away. He blew me away when I first saw him in Civil War, and this is Spider-Man. I'm sorry, this is Spider-Man. All the bad taste you had in your mouth from Andrew Garfield, for those of you that did, I know the series had their merits, but it didn't really feel like a Spider-Man movie. This was amazing. Specifically, and I may take a little bit more time on the 5-minute part because I need to talk about this. They let him not be perfect. In the Spider-Man movies, that's one of the things that I had as a gripe. He was always, they skipped that first few months or first year where he's Spider-Man and he's still learning. You get to dive into that here. He's still a novice, and you definitely get that. He's not perfect, and he definitely makes mistakes. And I like to see that, not just in a montage, but throughout the whole movie. He's constantly making mistakes, and he's a real person. He's not a seasoned hero, and that's what makes him special, because we can relate a lot. We screw up in life, and we can project ourselves onto Peter Parker and onto Spider-Man sometimes if we're heroic enough in our daily lives. So I like that. A lot of people thought that Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man was going to be all over this movie, and I'm glad to say that we got most of his stuff in the trailers. There are a few things that are best kept for the experience of watching the movie, but even the trailers, a lot of people thought that Sony once again had messed up what could have been an amazing movie and delivered just a mini package of everything in the trailers, and I'm happy to say that they didn't. It was very, very well done what they did with the trailers, because a lot of misdirection there. Yes, there are some beats that are given away, but not a lot, and I like that. I like that they were able to do that, and the moments that you get with these characters, John Watts did an amazing job with this movie. Just the chemistry between Vulture and Parker and Iron Man and Parker, and it's fantastic. I love it. I loved Aunt May, Marissa Tomei. Gosh, she was amazing. Michael Keaton was amazing, and you get and a few other villains in there too, and some teases. There's a lot of Easter eggs when it comes to the MCU, which I'm going to be talking about in my spoiler section. But what did I not like about this movie? I don't know, because this movie, it was nonstop from the beginning to the end. There was no real breather, and I like that. I like movies that don't feel like you're sitting through 5 minutes of filler just so you can get to the action. It was never there. I never felt like there was a break, which was kind of funny, because I'm like, I'm going to the bathroom, but I was standing there waiting to go, because I'm like, give me a break so I can go to the bathroom, and they didn't give me that, which I'm kind of happy about that, but at the same time, I'm like, I hate to use that. But anyway, they didn't give me any filler. I love that. I love movies that don't waste their time and spend their entire runtime to the nitty-gritty. Loved it. All the characters surrounding Peter Parker and creating his world is fantastic. Ned Beatty is a standout. I think his name is Ned Beatty. I don't know what his last name is. Ned. The guy with the chair. And you'll get that reference when you watch the movie. a bunch of the other characters are there, which I don't want to give away here because of spoilers. There's a lot of spoilers that are into this movie. Yeah, I really have no negatives. It was a fantastic movie. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic movie. So my final thoughts. Let's do final thoughts really quick because I'm a little bit over the 5-minute mark. So final thoughts. Go out and see this movie. This movie is amazing. This movie is everything you want it to be in a Spider-Man movie. It has a 93% of Rotten Tomatoes, which I know you shouldn't listen to that, but in this case, it should be higher than 93%. This movie is amazing. It didn't waste anything. There was no moment that was bad. It was great from the beginning to the very end, tying some, I would say, loose ends of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, bringing them in a cohesive way that didn't feel ham-fisted. None of the jokes feel ham-fisted either, which was fantastic. I love that all the jokes land, and everything was on point. John Watts, you did an amazing job, and I can't wait to see what Spider-Man is going to do next in the MCU. So now, without further ado, I'm going to switch over to my spoiler section. So for you guys that want to remain unspoiled and haven't seen the movie yet, and really, come on, watch the movie without the spoilers, if you can do it, because it's such an amazing experience. I got there, and I did watch some of the trailers. I didn't get any spoilers at all, and I like that. Yes, I mean, it's some of the plot beats, but, you know, it's a trailer. You have to give away something. But on the whole, I enjoyed it immensely. It was fantastic. So I guess if you're here, if you're still here, it means you watched the movie, and you want to stick around for the spoilers. So, alrighty. This movie, like Civil War, of references and a lot of cameos to the larger cinematic universe of the Avengers and, you know, of Guardians of the Galaxy and so on. There wasn't any spoilers or references to Guardians, but the very first scene, I think, is a spoiler, where you have it's right after the Avengers have their first battle with the Chitauri, and this company, which is owned by Adrian Toomes, is basically getting the heave-ho by Damage Control, which I'm glad to see them actually in a movie now. They're here in the universe, and they're the ones that clean up the messes that the heroes leave behind. But this time, Damage Control is headed up by Tony Stark, which they hinted at. I thought it was beautifully done, all the hints in this movie. It didn't feel like, here's a spoiler, guys, here's a spoiler. It was just there. If you caught it, good. If you didn't, watch it again. There's a lot of references to a lot of other things because the movie takes place right at the beginning scene is 2012, and then they to present day with a fantastic montage of Parker going to Germany, where they had the airport battle in Civil War. And it was fantastic. You know, it's rapid fire, but it's good. You never feel lost in the translation of everything, and it covers all the beats that you want to be there. There's a lot of different references. I'm trying to remember all of them. There's a reference to the Triskelion attack in Captain America: Winter Soldier, which apparently is still under cleanup because they do spend part of the movie in DC, which I like that. The characters, you get Betty Brant's in the movie, very, very slightly in the movie, but she's there, which for you guys that have seen the Spider-Man movies and know the lore, she was in the Spider-Man trilogy, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, and she was in the comics also. She actually was, I believe, one of Peter Parker's love interests. But we get Liz Allen, which I thought was a really good way to start off with Liz Allen. And I like what they did with her character. They didn't do anything finite with it. They just kind of moved her away, and they introduced what everybody knew. Zendaya is MJ. Come on, like really everybody suspected it, but I'm glad that they didn't admit to it until we went and saw the movie and you got it for yourself. I like that they did that, and I'm thankful to John Watts and to Zendaya for that. Really well done, and I like that they connected Liz Allen to Adrian Toomes as well. I don't know if that's canon as far as comics are concerned, but I love the connection because it really gives you some tense moments from Michael Keaton, which was amazing. You get Iron Spider in the movie. You see it. I was just losing my mind. Because, you know, as a comic book fan and as a Spider-Man fan, you know that that's the suit you want, is Iron Spider. And you get a glimpse of Iron Spider, which I'm hoping he wears it in Civil War. I mean, I'm like this. Because it was just tremendous. Seeing that on the screen, I told my mom, I said, look, if I went with some friends, my mom went too, and I told her, I said, look, if they would have had the Iron Spider on for one more second, I would have started to bawl. Because it's just, I love that they did that. It's just those nods to people like me that are crazy and that want to see those things. But it was so good. I love that the whole movie, because the whole movie feels like, you know, the John Hughes movies. It felt like Home Alone and the humor. And Ferris Bueller. There's actually a nod to Ferris Bueller. And I love it because Deadpool kind of took the Ferris Bueller end credits scene away with him doing an actual thing about Ferris Bueller. But I thought in the same vein, the end credit scene, the mid-credit scene is actually something that's important, and it teases the Scorpion, which I thought was fantastic, that we're going to get these villains that really have not been seen at all in a live-action format. And I like they're kind of staying away from Doc Ock, at least that's what it seems like, or Venom, although we're getting a Venom movie by Sony. And those villains like Green Goblin, because we've seen Green Goblin twice now, and I'm kind of Green Goblined out. And they did the Vulture, Tinkerer, Shocker was in the movie, and now maybe we're getting Scorpion in the second one, which I've been told takes place just a few minutes after Infinity or Avengers Part 4 ends. So we'll see. I'm excited to see what happens there, especially in a world that's going to be post Thanos, which I can't wait for. Really, what else can I say about the movie? It's just so good. It's so good, and I hope it makes a lot of money because I want to see more Spider-Man in the MCU. Tremendous movie, tremendous effort by John Watts. Again, another director that was moved from the indie films, comedy scene of little budget to big budget action film, and rocked it out of the park. Watts, just fantastic job, fantastic. The music by Michael Giacchino, he actually adapted, and I know everybody's heard it by now, the theme from the 60s Spider-Man show in there, and it was beautiful. And it was right when everybody thought, but it didn't take away from the, oh my gosh. And from the beginning of the movie, it's a thrill ride to the end. Fantastically done. I really could be talking about this movie for hours, and I might even do another video explaining the nitty-gritty and just kind of where we are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Another hit. Phase 3 have all been hits. You started out with Civil War, then you continue with Doctor Strange, then now, oh, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. How could I forget Guardians? And now Spider-Man Homecoming have all been hits. And I think I said this when Civil War was about to come out. Phase 3 is going to be the reward for almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years by the time Infinity War rolls around of people going to the movies, watching, being invested. This is our payoff, and it is known as the MCU Phase 3. I'm excited to see what they're going to do going forward. I know we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok, which I'm losing my mind over, Infinity War Part 1, or Infinity War, and then Avengers 4 and Captain Marvel. It's such a great time to be a comic book fan. Fantastic job. Spider-Man is back in a big way. And so now, without further ado, let's close this video, shall we? This has been Movie Critic Rob with the Movie Channel. This was a spectacular movie. Go watch it. But now, I'm signing off.